Recently, people all around the world were deeply saddened by the tragic death of former NBA Commissioner David Stern. His great leadership and success with the NBA was clearly recognized, as shown from the powerful reactions of people around the world, including many NBA star players.
James Harden started by saying, "The league wouldn't be what it is today without you. The entire NBA family and fans around the world will miss you." Some former players like Scottie Pippen and Kobe Bryant have led their insight by saying, "Very sad day for basketball. We saw David Stern a lot in the 90s, and I found him to be kind, thoughtful, and almost always the smartest person in the room. He was an innovator who helped grow our sport into a global game, and his impact will never be forgotten. Rest in peace, Commissioner." And that was from Scottie Pippen. The game changed in so many ways under David Stern's leadership and vision. He demanded the best of everyone because he gave it himself. #respect. Thank you, Commissioner. Rest in peace. And that's from Kobe. Additionally, with David Stern's passing, statements have come out from figures larger than basketball, such as Barack Obama. And he said, "With David Stern's passing, I'm reflecting on everything he did to take the NBA global, creating entire new generations of fans pretending to be like Mike or any of their favorite players on driveways and playgrounds around the world." Golden State Warriors president Rick Welts, who worked with Stern in the NBA league office from 1982 to 1999, called Stern the single most important individual in the history of the NBA. And he said he didn't think there's an argument, as he told Times magazine. "With all due respect to Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, and LeBron James, we would not have the NBA that we have today without his genius. We see the results today and assume that the NBA was always like this, which of course it wasn't." Quote, Rick Welts.
It's clear that people love Stern for the positive effect he had on the NBA. While this is true, people often overlook the huge effects he had on our society as a whole. He proved that the NBA was far larger than a simple basketball organization. He was able to use the NBA's power to change cultures and unify people worldwide. One way that Stern was able to bring people together was through the NBA Cares program. In this program, they ran charitable endeavors both large and small. During Stern's time as NBA Commissioner, he has said that through these programs, the NBA has provided more than 5 million hours of community service, and several players have started their own charitable organizations because of this. This shows that Stern was able to use the NBA to make changes far larger than a basketball game. He was able to change lives and bring people together. While David Stern was clearly able to provide hope and opportunity to communities, he was also able to provide opportunities to NBA players. He did this by refining previously existing rules regarding player marketing. Thanks to his changes to the rules, the NBA began encouraging players to partake in commercials and advertisements. He understood that players were recognizable and had wonderful stories to tell. Through player marketing, players were now making money for endorsements with other companies outside of the NBA. This was great for players because not only were they making more money, but also now society was looking up to them as icons. This meant that people were trying to be like these players. For instance, Michael Jordan back in the day. Kids would actually grow up, go outside, "I want to shoot like Michael Jordan, I want to play like Michael Jordan." And it inspired many people to follow their passions and do what they love.
He also was able to make big stars from the earlier NBA times, such as the 80s, more well known. Players such as Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and Magic Johnson. An example of this is when Magic Johnson came out saying that he was HIV positive. Stern flew out and was by his side during the press conference, which is something that he by no means had to do. If it weren't for David Stern's actions, then some of the league's big-name players may have never even stepped foot on the basketball court. In the book I read, Shoeless Joe by W.P. Kinsella, we see that the protagonist has a major loving for the White Sox as well as his favorite player, Shoeless Joe Jackson. Now, similar to what David Stern has done with the NBA, what he's done primarily has allowed specific players to get their names out there and become more famous. That's why what Barack Obama had said earlier about David Stern allowing kids in their driveways to shoot around and say Michael Jordan or Kobe or Curry when they shoot a deep three. This is very similar in the fact that the protagonist, who had a fantastic loving for his favorite player, Shoeless Joe, was able to then share his love of baseball with his daughter and with his father, and it brought them all together. which is what David Stern went out of his way to do.
Another opportunity that Stern created is unlike all others mentioned in this video. It is truly revolutionary.
Stern oversaw the birth of 7 new franchises and the creation of the WNBA and NBA Development League, which is now the G League, which provides countless opportunities to pursue careers playing basketball in the United States that previously weren't available. Quote Brian Mahoney from the Associated Press.
While the countless opportunities were created for men upon the creation of the G League, undeniably more important was the creation of the WNBA. This basketball association for women truly broke barriers. As Bill Ackerman, the first WNBA president, said in an interview with ESPN, without his vision and engagement, the league wouldn't have gotten off the ground. He was the mastermind, and the WA really was in line with his vision about how sports and society are intertwined. This shows that Stern was able to break down the stigma surrounding women inequality in society. By forming this league, barriers far larger than sports were broken. This was a major statement in showing the power of women to the world. I recently read a book called I Never Had It Made, an autobiography of Jackie Robinson. In this book, Jackie Robinson conveys the message that in order to make change, you need large exposure to the rest of the world. As quoted by Jackie Robinson in this book, a life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives. This shows that Jackie felt that he needed an audience to watch what he was doing in order to actually have a meaningful change on other people's lives. I think that David Stern also recognized this with the NBA. He felt that players needed more power, and the only way to do this was by increasing the viewership of the NBA. He reached deals with multiple TV networks and introduced League Pass, where almost every game is available to watch online on a mobile phone or TV around the world, reaching millions and millions of fans. Furthermore, this brings people from all around the world together for a common entertainment source, the NBA, which is now streamed all over the world, particularly in Asia, North America, and in Europe. When asked about what he was most proud of during his career, David Stern confidently said his ability to make the NBA a global sensation. This is shown in the following CNN interview.
What are you most proud of in your time as commissioner?
I'm most proud that my colleagues and I understand there's a greater purpose that can be served by our sport. And we understand that sports has a way of crystallizing discussion about issues. The last time you and I interacted, it was about a visit to Korea.
To conclude, the effect David Stern had was far larger than the NBA. He truly broke barriers, united people, bettered society, and made our world more interconnected than ever before, thanks to basketball.